All right, everybody, I am back with a brand new Star Wars update. And I have a few photos to show in regards to Star Wars since my last video. And this morning, things blew up all over social media as they announced that the Rey Star Wars movie that was announced 2 weeks ago has been indefinitely delayed. And this is going to follow a trend that has occurred with Star Wars and the movies that Star Wars announces and then never get made. And we're going to talk about a few things. But first, let's take a look at a few of the photos that I have grabbed. So first up, The Hollywood Reporter had this story that David Benioff and D.B. Weiss break their silence on their shelved Star Wars movie. So it goes to what I just talked about. Disney has this bad habit of announcing these Star Wars movies that never get made. He said, "We wanted to do the first Jedi, how the Jedi Order came to be, why it came to be, and the first lightsaber." And there's more. You can go find this. You could go find this article. But they break their silence and talk about the movie they wanted to do. But Disney didn't want to go in their order, probably because it didn't have enough women in it. That would be my guess. But let's take a look at a few other photos. So shortly after my last video, they did announce that Ahsoka Season 2 is now officially in development. Dave Filoni will be returning, and they are going to be doing a Season 2, which is good because in my last video, I believe they talked about, she had come out with a quote saying there haven't been any meetings. And I think it would be a missed opportunity if they don't continue on with this story because it was a decent show. Was not happy with the finale at all, but it definitely did get pretty good there in the center and towards the end. And then the end, I did not like the final episode, but it definitely started a bunch of different storylines that they should be following up on. More following the Ahsoka announcement. It says a new teaser image for Ahsoka Season 2 has just dropped. And it sets up both Baylan Skoll's return and the reveal of ancient secrets of the Force. Here is that actual photo, and it says this is from the official Star Wars Twitter account, or Threads, I don't even know anymore. It says, "The story continues. Ahsoka Season 2 now in development with Dave Filoni." And the story continues. So they've already got some storyboards, which means this is not something they're doing on a whim. This was planned, and I believe that this was always going to be the plan and that they were probably doing this behind the scenes. But because of all of the negative noise out there, they had to come out with some positive news for the crowd. So another outlet, IGN.com, picked up on the Game of Thrones show's creators and how they talked about their scrap Star Wars film was about the first Jedi. And it looks like this is on Jeddah, the planet, and you can see in the photo. It's a pretty cool photo. I would like to see more about the Jedi. The Journal of Wills, there's lots of things that they could explore that have not been explored before, and it would be good to get away from the Skywalkers and actually do something that isn't going to cause controversy. So I figured I'd share this. This is a pretty cool, this is probably my favorite poster from Return of the Jedi. I was pretty young when this movie came out. I think I was 7 years old, and I loved this movie. And this movie brings me back to 1983. And so I absolutely love this poster. I would love to get a copy of this poster and put it in my theater room. It's probably my favorite of the original trilogy. And I think it really represents the film quite well and definitely, like I said, hits that nostalgia point. Now, I'm actually going to share this photo on my next DC video as well, but I thought this was pretty funny. Star Wars and DC related, showing Luke stabbing himself in the eye with a lightsaber, with Zack Snyder kind of rolling his eyes, but it's ObiWan Kenobi. It's pretty funny because this is the way Warner Brothers has been with their properties, and Disney's doing the exact same thing, but they might be turning a corner with today's announcement. So here is the big news of the day. This hit just this morning. I woke up to this all over my Twitter feed. Daisy Ridley's untitled Rey Skywalker Star Wars movie reportedly delayed indefinitely. Stephen Knight possibly exiting. Now, that could be a good or it could be a bad thing. There were reports that Stephen Knight actually had some issues with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy and her kind of clashing, and supposedly George Lucas was there, and they all butted heads that Disney and Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, that she wants to go in a whole different direction and make it all about females. And the heat might have gotten so bad that Stephen Knight wants to exit the project. Now, this could be very interesting, so let's talk about this here. So we know that there has been some nasty things going on behind the scenes over there with Disney, and they have this habit of announcing these movies that are never going to get released. They had announced that Rian Johnson was going to get an entire trilogy, which I think was a mistake from the get-go. Luckily, that has been canceled. They announced that Patty Jenkins was going to do a Rogue Squadron film, which I was really looking forward to. That got scrapped. You had the guys who did Game of Thrones. They were going to do their movie. That got scrapped. And they continue to go down this path. Now, there are several things that could have caused the Rey movie to be delayed. The biggest being, and the one people are talking about, is that it got too hot in the kitchen with all the backlash from the fans all over social media over the last 2 weeks since they announced that. And the Mandalorian Grogu movie that got announced was a way to kind of throw water on the flames and kind of simmer things down. Now we get this announcement. So, like I said, it means one of two things. Either they're starting to learn from their mistakes and go in a direction that is going to grab the fan base back in, or they're getting ready to dig that knife in even further and continue with their identity politics agenda and just stick it to the fans and ruin the brand even more. It remains to be seen which route they're going to take. If history is any indication, I would bet that they're going to dig that knife in even further. I don't know that that's the case. I will be covering this going forward. As more information comes out, I will definitely be conveying that through my videos and continue to do these Star Wars updates. I love Star Wars, and I really hope it can get back on track. Disney has announced that they understand their identity politics mistakes of the past, but they didn't really say they were going to fix it and that they were going to be doubling down in some areas. And this seems like what they're going to do. And so it's not about telling a good story anymore. It's all about identity politics. But we'll see going forward what they do. I do appreciate all the support. We will see you guys on the next video. And what do you think about this announcement of the Rey movie being indefinitely delayed? Does not mean it's been canceled, but it has been delayed definitely for the time being.